Everyone to a very special day. We have the most online I think we've ever had for one of our Sunday meetings, so welcome everybody online. It's lovely to see you. You are all muted so that if you have any phones ringing or anything it won't disturb us here, and we can really enjoy a wonderful service together. So thank you for joining us online. Bless you all around the world. These people are all around the world, and bless you all of you for being here this afternoon. So I'm going to light the Christ candle, as we always do, and we'll take just a moment as the flame takes the wick here to recognise that this light that shines, and it's amazing how it just gets brighter, doesn't it? It starts off dim, but it gets brighter as we give it those few moments to settle. And our light does the same. Sometimes it feels quite dim, but if we let it settle and just focus on it, it gently of itself becomes brighter. And that's what the light in the candle represents, is that Christ energy that is in all of us, that is the truth of who we all are. And all we need to do is take a moment to focus on it, and we experience it more fully, and it becomes brighter. And it's wonderful to know that, not just for ourselves, but for everyone that we know also. So anyone that... I know several people wanted to be present here today and couldn't get here for one reason or another. And I know that several are on their way to be here to join us. So we welcome them in, knowing that the Christ light is drawing them here. Our burning bowl service is one of the few rituals that we do in Unity, but it's a very powerful ritual because it helps us consciously let go and release of that we know no longer serves us. And we take moments to do that by burning our paper. And I think most of you have experienced a burning bowl service. We will explain the process to you, but it's very important in Unity. We always release the old and then we claim the new. So after we've burnt our paper, we will then be claiming the new with our affirmations and doing all of that. And the beginning of the year is always for us here, and certainly this part of the world in the Northern Hemisphere, the days are starting to get longer. There's new energy coming in January. There's a sense of starting something new, being new, claiming new, which is why the burning bowl is always held now. So we're going to really grab that. We're going to take that energy, we're going to take those ideas, and we're going to take all of that with us as we have our service this afternoon. So because it is a special day, guess what? We are going to sing It's a Special Day.
It's a special day. It's a special day. I can feel it deeply in a special way. It's a special day. It's a special day. I can feel it deeply in a special way.
Thank you, everyone. Please sit down. So, let's start to get really present. There's a real buzz and energy about this afternoon, but within that buzz and energy we can still bring God in. We can still bring that awareness of knowing that all that energy is of God and that all of that energy is of us. So we're going to now move forward with our prayer and invocation, the Charles Fillmore invocation, and we'll take a moment to use that to get settled, to get present. So before we speak, let's just take a moment to close our eyes. And allow yourself to get present, to be here. Most people have travelled quite a way today. So we take a moment to consciously give thanks for each of you that have chosen to be here, to bring your wonderful energy in support of this day. And we take a moment to know that in the midst is God. That God is all, God is through all, including each of us. So we allow that energy, that all that God is and means to us, to really become conscious in our minds and in our hearts. And with that energy held, let us speak the invocation together. I am now in the presence of pure being. immersed in the Holy Spirit of life, love and wisdom. I acknowledge thy presence and thy power, O blessed Spirit. In thy divine wisdom, now erase my mortal limitations, and from thy pure substance of love, bring into manifestation my word, according to thy perfect law. So this we know, that the Lord, the presence of the Lord, is in this place. For the presence of the Lord is in each of us here together. And then as we connect with that holy hush, that point of stillness, know that we tap into that very energy of God that guides us through the process today, the release ceremony, the claiming of our good. And so with that sense of God with us and within us and around us, we are going to move forward now into our first part of our service, which is the release part. You will see in your programs that you all have bits of paper. And if you need pens, we have pens. We have this paper, which is what we will be writing on to burn everything, because it burns really easily. So we'll be using that to burn on. And we'll be using that to write our letter to God later on in the programme. But for now, we are going to focus on the release and this act of letting go. And really in Unity, I found it was Unity that really taught me the power of letting go through the act of release. We use the word of denial in its old-fashioned sense, not in the way we use it today, but really that this no longer has power over me. And it's a powerful act of faith to let go, because when we let go of something, we're basically saying there's got to be something else to replace it. There's a power greater than me at work that I'm allowing to come through when I release and let go. So we can't have the one without the other. We have to, before we claim new good, we have to let go of the old. So the release part of the ceremony is really cleansing, it's releasing, it's letting go. And what a joy to do that, knowing that there's a power and presence greater than us that fills us, that takes over when we let it, and that guides us. We make space for that energy, for God, when we let go. And it's also a wonderful way of consciously saying no. I know Doreen always used to say cancel, cancel. She used to cross her arms and say cancel, cancel, don't do it anymore. This is what we're doing with our conscious act of releasing. So it's very powerful. So we really want to be aware of what we're doing when we're letting go, because it does work when we let go. So what are we letting go of? I have some thoughts that I'll share. You may well have your own thoughts. This is very personal. It's not about sharing it with the group. It's really connecting with what you want to let go of. But some examples are unconscious thinking, I like to describe it. The unconscious thinking is the lack thinking that says, no, the voice that says, no, I can't, no, I shouldn't, no, I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough, no, there's not enough. All those no thoughts, that lack thinking, we know what they are because we recognise them in the words that we say. The words are reflecting what's going on. So if you recognise there's thought patterns there that are the lack idea, the no thoughts, you can write those down on your bit of paper, because we're going to let those go. Sometimes we move on in our lives and there are people or situations that we recognise don't fit who we are and where we are. And sometimes it's important to recognise that we need to let people and situations and events go. And when we do that, it's not because it's bad or wrong, it's purely because that was then and this is now. And as we let people go, as we release them to their good, they either go yeah, yippee, I'm out of here, which I've had when I've said to people, I let you go, they've really gone, and that's it. It's like, okay, but sometimes we let people go, and that energy then that we've holding on to them, they feel that release, and they, having felt that release that they're not held on to anymore, choose to stay. And I've had that experience where people have chosen to stay when after I've let them go. So the letting go of people and events and situations, again, doesn't mean they're all going to disappear and you're never going to see them again, but it means they are going to their right place, whatever that is, staying or leaving, and you are saying, I am making space for new people, new situations, new events in my life, not because it's wrong, but because this is the time and place to do so. So sometimes that's applicable. Feelings of anger and sadness and joy and all those feelings that sometimes depression, resentment, bitterness, frustration. There's a reason why we have those feelings, but we can also choose to say, I don't want to experience those anymore in a way that they control me. So again, it's not that our emotions are wrong. Nothing is wrong. It's just saying, this no longer serves me where I am now. So if you feel there's something in you that's been holding you back with a feeling that's been attached to a thought, if there's something going on there, this is the time to say, I can let this go. And know with the feeling that there's energy in that, and as we release those feelings, you might get the gem and the gift that's contained within it. Because within that energy, if there's anger there or frustration or bitterness, there's something there we need to know. But by saying it doesn't control me anymore, this is not going to dominate my life experience, I'm willing to let the anger go, we make space to know why we have the anger and realise we don't need to do that anymore. So there's often a gift, a gem, in releasing our feelings in that way, because we're not making anything wrong. It's really important. And it is really lovely at the beginning of a year to say everything that happened last year was last year, and I let last year go, and I step newly into this year. So there's lots of things that we can write down, and it's really good to let your heart guide you. This is not about judgment, this is about letting the heart, that love energy work through you to help you release, to help you let go. So very briefly, the process will be, you will be invited to sit and write down everything that you can think of, anything that comes to your heart and mind, onto your bit of paper. And we are going to burn it all outside. It's all set up out there. Paul is going to make sure that the candles stay lit to burn your bits of paper. There's a metal box out there as well for us to do that in. And then we'll come back into the room and just hold the space. I say in the programme, I rest in holy emptiness because I am waiting to be filled with the new, which is what we'll be moving on with.
I release all that no longer serves me, free to begin again.
So we've affirmed it, let's do it. So we rest in holy emptiness, waiting on the Lord, waiting on God, that energy to fill us. Waiting is important. And we wait with holy expectation, anticipation of the infilling that flowing in and through that is God. And like a bucket that's been emptied, we are ready to be filled. Filled with new life and new energy, new awareness of God more fully and more deeply, more profoundly. Knowing that we are heirs to the kingdom and that all of God is available in every moment wherever we are. And that includes each of us. This includes everyone. So let's take a moment just to receive that energy, to know that all of God is here now, in this moment. And know what that means to you. That can be perfect health. That can be abundance overflowing. That can be the light that guides us unerringly to our good, new choices, new decisions, new ways forward in this new year. Get that real sense of all of that, all that God is filling each of you now. And just as God says yes to us, in every moment God says yes to us, we too say yes to God. And as we say yes, in our minds and in our hearts, what does that mean to you? What are you saying yes to for this new year unfolding? So get a sense of all of your desires of your heart. Even it may be a glimmer of something. Pulling that glimmer forward so it's brightening in your minds, so that you can know and say and write with conviction that this is my intention for this year. And so taking all of that energy for you in your own unique way, we are going to write our own letters to God. So I think that everyone online is complete. Yes? Lovely. And everyone in this room is complete? Good. So let's stand. And let's say the affirmation of completion. And we'll say it like we did at the beginning, the release statement. We'll say this 3 times together. I am a new expression of spirit. I move forward with faith, anticipation, and gratitude. Amen. Amen.
The new heaven and the new earth. Then I saw a new heaven and a new earth. For the first heaven and the first earth had passed away, and the sea was no more. And I saw the holy city, the new Jerusalem, coming down out of heaven from God, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. And I heard a loud voice from the throne saying, See, the home of God is among mortals. He will dwell with them. They will be his peoples, and God himself will be with them. He will wipe every tear from their eyes. Death will be no more. Mourning and crying and pain will be no more, for the first things have passed away. And the one who was seated on the throne said, See, I am making all things new. Also he said, Write this, for these words are trustworthy and true. Then he said to me, It is done. I am the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. To the thirsty I will give water as a gift from the spring of water of life. Those who conquer will inherit these things, and I will be their God, and they will be my children.
Thank you, Alex. So today is a new day, and this is a new year, and there's wonderful new energy pouring forth to bless each of us in our journey. And we celebrate that and give thanks for that, knowing it is God that guides our way and is the expression that lives and moves and breathes through us day by day. So we're drawing this to a close now, swiftly, because we're overrun just a little bit. So let's stand and let's speak our Unity Centre mission statement together. This is something that we've created for Unity Maidenhead, and we're affirming it for this new year together. We provide a loving and welcoming environment where we nurture a spiritual way of living. Together with Spirit, we create abundant and healthy lives through prayer, learning, empowerment and joy. We celebrate, bless and appreciate our oneness. Amen. And let's say the prayer for protection together. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Amen and amen. Amen. Yay. Wonderful. So we are going to sing our peace song to bring this to a close.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as Creator. Find we all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take,